Chandra.
Hi.
So, what we have thought of is that there are a lot of questions that students, kids, for me, kids, ask either on our Facebook group or on our Telegram groups and so on. A lot of these questions are very generic questions. By generic, I mean that they apply to almost every other student. So there are a couple of things with these questions. One is that they demand a longish answer if one is serious about answering those questions, rather than just getting rid of them. So a lot of typing and considering we are old school, a lot of typing, it's okay, but we still type long ones. But then the thing is, it still doesn't solve the purpose, because those messages then get lost in the deluge of other messages. And so, if somebody asks, people keep asking the same question, and so we either have to refer them back and, so on. So, because of these couple of problems, the longishness and the fact that they get lost, we have decided to take as many as we can such questions in a sort of like a dialogue. Okay, so we will do cross-questioning, pretend as if one of us is the student, the other is, trying to answer that, and so on. So that is the basic idea behind these videos, and the hope is that we will try to cover as many generic questions as we can.
So the warning there is the answers are going to be a little longish ones. So if you want to hear the entire perspective of it, you would have to watch the complete video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with the first topic, and what are we?
Yeah. So recently a student asked, and I know this because again a similar questions were asked last year, and so this year someone has already asked this. So I'll pretend as if I'm the student and I'm asking Chandra. So the question is that, sir, so when I clear the written stage, so in the interview I have to show that I'm better than others and so on. So it is called a profile, so building a profile and showing them that I'm good in not just ACADS and not just in the AD score, but then in a lot of other areas. So considering, I'll try to be more specific with respect to what the student had asked. The student had asked that, especially in this lockdown scenario, the colleges are not open, so you can't really, if you're a college student, not a working person, then you can't join those college clubs and show that you did, let's say the photography club or the wildlife club or debate club or whatever. You can't, because you're sitting at home. So what can someone do, because those options are not available, to build one's profile? So just to give you an example, should I do some course from Coursera? Should I do some diploma in, let's say, financial something or whatever, basically? So that's the idea. So that's the question.
Yes. So so we are basically talking about a profile building. Now, first let me distinguish two things. There are a lot of students on Facebook who write in their 10th marks, 12th marks, what they've done, their graduation marks, and they ask, with this profile, what call can I expect, right? So we are not talking about that question. We are talking about a much broader profile, as in beyond the academics, what should one do? So the other part, we'll take it up in another video. So let's look at what the holistic profile, beyond academics, whether it's extracurricular. So what does all this profile include? Whatever is in your curriculum, that is a part of your profile. You cannot ignore that. So it is by default you expected to do well in ACADS, and you all know that CAT and at least the IIMs lay a lot of importance on past academics. Now what is there is that you can't go back and change your marks, right? And hence the question becomes more important with students. Okay, I have those marks, so now what else can I build it up with or buffet it with? The next important part of profile comes work experience. So what I'm trying to say is this part of joining a club, doing a course or so on, comes pretty down in hierarchy. May not come as important as one thinks about it, right? So the second profile building comes in work experience. Now, work experience requires one to spend a year or 2 years working. Just a 6 months work experience is not going to help, right? So that third comes in with some interest, hobbies, or activities that you have been doing in the college regularly. So that's also a part of your profile. So these I can think are the main thing, and then comes the instead of interest hobby. So one might not be a very outgoing person. Like if I take my example, I would, in a college, there would be only 10-15% of students who are a part of a committee or a club or organizing events or so on. The rest of the 75% of the students are just going to be, participate in those events. They don't organize or they don't get actively involved.
Or they don't win.
They don't win or so on. Yeah, they just go. It's a college fair. It's a, you go have a good time or so on. So they feel at a loss. Now, for them, they might not be the ones who are organizing or so on, but they would definitely have some interest or hobby. That interest hobby could also be about, following it on one's own, means not involving the public, right? Like, for example, obviously reading, or some hobby that the person might have, sports, something that he might be playing. Then again this comes, I'm not a sports person, then you might have something else. You have free time in the day, somehow you fill in those free times. It could be you might be passionate about biking, you might be browsing the net, you might be listening or singing, you might be... So there are a lot of these. All of this go to make a complete profile. So we need to understand this, right? So what I'm saying is a profile gets built out of your personality, out of your interests and what you have been pursuing, and over a decently long time. So, so I think that these short-term measures are not that very effective.
I was in fact about to ask you that, and thankfully you only came up with that, which is that I was about to ask you that, am I wrong in thinking, like this is what I think, that because of these social media, internet, a lot of things become boom and a lot of things become useless, and so on. So lately, especially because last year is when we came online with our course and everything. So one thing which I see everywhere is profile building, and by profile building, somehow the definition, they have narrowed it down. Okay, so their meaning of profile building is doing some online 3 months course or 2 months course.
Two common things: doing a course, joining an NGO.
Yeah. So my question to you, which you have sort of answered, but I would like you to elaborate, is that so I think it is overrated, and it's a social media phenomenon which may not have that much substance behind it.
I couldn't agree more. These institutes have been selecting students from ages before the social media also, and they are very clear about what they want. So they are clear that they lay a lot of importance on academics, which a lot of students are going to have a grudge against, but then you can't help it. The way it is, right? And it's a competition amongst the the academically inclined people. That is, and it's India, so you can't avoid that.
Yeah, 1/6 of humanity. 1/6 of humanity is us. I mean, it's not their mistake as such. What do they do?
Well, they have to go and select somewhere. Some criteria needs to be done, and that criteria, one of the default or let's say a dependable criteria that they have identified is past ACADS.
Yeah.
And along with that, okay, so let's again understand that ACADS may not be the whole thing. So probably here I will bring in this point. ACADS and so on can act as a elimination stage for the first round.
Yeah.
So your profile, whatever you're concerned about, is not important for getting that interview call, right? that interview call has weightage on your CAT scores, on your 10th marks, 12th marks, graduation marks, and your work experience, if at all, and diversity. These are the only 4-5 things that are matter for your call. So your profile does not fetch you any credit for getting the interview call. Your profile only comes after you getting a call, and this is where I would ask you also to tell the students that it's very important that you perform exceptionally well in the written test, and then worry about the profile.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Rather than worry about the profile and not do well in the test.
Yes. So what that means is, if your profile building, whatever that profile building is, and now I think you should, like us, take it with a grain of salt. Whatever that, if that profile building, that time you spend on it, is at the expense of studying for CAT, okay, and studying for your examinations, the college exams, then you're doing the wrong thing. If you are satisfied, like let's say today, in case your college exams are near, so you did work for that, you're happy with that, then you did whatever work for CAT written, and you're happy with that. Now if you have extra time, please use it. But you cannot do that because you spent time on profile building on that course or whatever, you did not do the homework of the yesterday's quant class that you had. Now then that is a problem. It should never be at that expense. So you should think of profile building, because what's the point of building supposedly an amazing profile and not getting a call? This is a harsh thing to say, but it is a fact. Okay, so it is extremely important. Just to give you an analogy, something similar happens when kids ask me questions regarding RC. Okay, so last year I wasn't so vehement about it, not so strong about it, but this year I am. We'll have probably a session on this. I think we should, even though I told kids that you should go to the fundamentals, just like you should go to the fundamentals in maths, you should go to the fundamentals in reading, and by that what I mean is you should know the basics of things. So philosophy, everyone keeps saying philosophy, art, but that is not taken care of by reading Eon articles. Okay, that is taken care of by figuring out, okay, what is the meaning of existentialism, who was Nietzsche, and so on. So, but kids ask me, how many articles should I read? From where should I read? So, it's a similar thing. Did you take care of the basics, what I call the basics of reading? If you did, then ask me this question. I'll tell you which articles to read. But otherwise, I personally won't tell you. I'm sure there is enough on the internet. 30,000 articles to read today, please do that, but not me. So it's exactly the same that Chandra is saying. Are you satisfied with your CAT prep today? If so, please do profile building.
Perfect. Let's continue with assuming that one has enough time. Yes. And also let's also appreciate the reality that one might have just woken up and realized it that one needs to go beyond the acads as well.
Yes.
Okay, and in all sincerity, let's say the student is keen. Yes. And is lost. What shall we do? So let's address that. So at least some students can benefit from it. So I think the easiest way is, I think it is a personality driven thing,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So courses, what course you should do is only if it limits, it doesn't add a lot of dimensions to your personality.
Yeah.
Okay,
personality, no.
Personality,
yeah.
and the second stage is the profile is about personality building,
yes.
right? So you can just say it is a pretty, let's say a third choice, fourth choice in the absence of anything.
Yes,
right? Yeah. So if nothing else clicks or so on, then maybe you can think of joining some course. and what course is dictated by your interest. Yeah, we will
Yeah,
only be
and at least we
wasting
can
time.
tell you what not to do in this. Don't ask what is the best course to do. Okay, or don't go for, in case somebody asks this question in some group, and these days these pollings are also in all these telegram groups and all polling, and so suppose somebody gave these 4 options that these financial something, then something, then economics and whatever, and and which one is a better course to do, and so whichever wins has the highest votes, you start doing that. I mean, that's completely defeating the purpose.
Yeah, and so probably the second choice in courses itself, why don't we look at course beyond economics, finance, marketing,
Absolutely.
that you are anyways going to do.
Yeah.
Today you have courses for everything.
Yeah.
So why don't we look at course for, let's say, anything. It may be related to interest like photography,
Yes.
or it may be related to sports,
Yes.
or it could be related to, I don't know, your interest, maybe meditation. There are courses on meditation,
Yeah,
courses
big
on
time.
yoga.
It's in.
Yeah, why don't we do
Mindfulness is
yeah,
in.
mindfulness, yoga, and you want a little public speaking,
Yes. Yeah.
critical reasoning, lots of things are there. So
Yeah.
this is what is going to differentiate you. When you say profile building specifically with respect to your process of interview or so on, you need to understand, you need to be differentiate yourself
Yeah.
from your competitors.
Yeah. Man, what makes you special? If 5 people are coming to me, I'm the B school, 5 people are coming to me for interview, all 5 have done something in finance. I mean,
Yeah.
I would rather talk to someone who says, sir, I really like to research on trains. And I'm not joking. There is a beautiful movie on this, I think called The Station. It has the Tyrion Lannister. I'm forgetting his name because I'm on in front of a camera. I'm sorry. I get little nervous. So I'm forgetting his name. But anyway, Tyrion Lannister, the dwarf, the imp. He's the hero of that movie long back, when he wasn't known. The Station, I think. So his hobby was, and by the way, it is a big time hobby.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know this. So trains, engines, when it was made, and by the way, now don't start doing that. Okay, yeah,
I had a batchmate at IIM Lucknow
Yeah.
whose hobby was trains.
And I personally would find a person who can talk about it without hesitation, and I can feel, because of cross questioning, that this person is not fooling around, knows about trains and engines and whatever. I will any day prefer that guy
Yeah.
over whoever finance. I'm talking like a B school right now, by the way, because we know this from facts of our students who have gotten through.
And again, Coursera, Udemy are not the only choices. Recently, I saw something called a Great Courses, and I picked it up.
Okay.
They have amazing course on whatever you want. Yeah, you want cooking, you want sketching, you want whatever you want. They have courses. They have courses on Renaissance history, on World War.
Yeah.
They have. I'm doing a course on Vedic, the Vedic era of Hinduism.
Yeah.
They have everything. So that is so. So you need to find your interest and then pursue it, right? And so I, randomly I just ranked them in terms of 3, 2. So probably the first one for me, I don't know for you, the first one for me would it's not the first one, but I said it's personality related.
Yeah.
So if you are the outgoing kind of a person, like this student who asked you, should I join some club or no? My message is, if you are that sort of person, you should be doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, and even though I started that it should be a long process, you should. The COVID argument I don't buy, because the COVID argument is just about 8 months, 10 months. So you can't say that 8 months or 10 months, because of that I don't have a profile. That sounds very shallow.
Yeah.
That
Meaning
sounds-
you suddenly thought of becoming a better personality because you're now sitting for CAT, which is okay. We understand. A lot of students are that. But anyway, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah. So but probably if you have woken up, then I would say, if you want to do that, now things have opened up. Everything has that. So join whatever you like.
Whatever
you like.
But start with yourself. Don't start with what is supposedly a better course or supposedly which will impress them more. Nothing impresses them more than you, provided you can do that. It's not your course. So, and the easiest way to do that is to do something that you are attracted towards, that you love, that makes sense to you. Because then you can talk on it as much as you want or as much as they allow. Whereas if you're doing the other thing, then you'll stop, because it doesn't come from within. That's so.
Yeah, and then that becomes an event. That becomes an event in the sense of I have my interview till March, so I have to do it till March, and beyond March one is lost. Yeah, because the purpose of doing it vanishes, right? So one's interest also vanishes.
In fact, that gives me a very nice idea, which I think is what you are implying. An idea in terms of an advice. Think of what you would want to continue doing with or without MBA in the long term. Start with that. Yeah. So even if till CAT you are able to do only 5 months of that, I think you will still be able to talk nicely because it's something that you want to stay with.
Absolutely. Yeah, so whether it's your college club or go beyond, I don't know if Rotaract clubs, Lion clubs are anyway active, but make a start. The more you experience, the more opportunities will open up. Yeah. Sitting at inside your room or being closed, you would not see so many opportunities. But once you reach out to these places, there are local groups these days. They go on hiking, they go cycling. I don't know what also. And I'm saying get involved if you're that outgoing and adventurous kind of a person, and then opportunities will open up. You will hear some stories from somewhere, some more ideas will come up, and you can discover your process, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's
So I think so. We hope we have helped you. But take it seriously. Maybe rewatch this video, and we'll see you for another topic.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Take care.